Hello, martial arts families. John Orndorff here from the North American Martial Arts Institute, and I'm here to do a Tae Kwon Do class today. Today's class is going to be focused on those who are preparing to test. Now, when I say those who are preparing to test, what I mean is everybody, okay? Because here's the deal. When you are maybe not in the current testing cycle where you can't test this round, it doesn't mean that you should not still always try to make sure you're peaking at that testing time, okay? You always want to get in the habit of ramping up during the testing period, whether it's your belt testing period or not. So I highly encourage everyone who is one of our Tae Kwon Do students to participate and to really think about the things that are said. There's going to be a lot of technical stuff today, but it's not so much the physical side as it is me explaining how to do things correctly and making sure that whatever you're doing looks good. All right? So we will do a short warm-up, so we'll start that now. So we'll begin with Chariot Kanye. And hands on the hips, neck roll, please. I hope your Monday is going great. It's a beautiful day here in Uptown Norwalk. It's a little cold out, but it's going to warm up tomorrow. Head up and down. And I'm looking forward to that solid spring weather that we definitely deserve. Turning left and right. And shoulder rolls. Let's roll them the other way. And just some straight punches. Chin level, punching straight out, not real strong. Again, getting the body flowing, or getting the blood flowing. Uppercuts. Remember, on uppercuts, take them up to about your eye level. That's as high as you want to go. Hooks across the chin. Make sure that the arm is level and that the elbow follows directly behind the fist. Don't do a great big swing set up like that, okay? We don't want to do that great big roundhouse punch or haymaker. Jog in place. And some jumping jacks. We're going to take the feet out a little bit and bend. Doing a weave, bending the knees. I like to do an uppercut here too. Turn my body, drive up into that uppercut. Just think hand position on that uppercut too. First two knuckles. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and stretch. Standing hamstring stretch. Other side. First side again. A little lower this time. And second side. All right, little center stretch. Now I haven't stretched all weekend and I can feel it. I regret not stretching Saturday. Sometimes I'll take a Sunday off, or at least one day during the weekend off, but I took 2 days and I can feel it. Now, it's just a little bit tighter than it normally is, but I only like to miss that one day, so that's a little bit of under the table advice, my friends. Side split. Try to make sure you get that stretching in every day, or pretty close to every day. Other side. And one more type center. Feet in. All right. So, I like to do flags when we do classes, so let's go to Chimbi position and a little meditation. Time them to bring the mind and body that much more together. Chariot, Kinye, Boro, Anjo, Mokim. Baro. What's that? Chariot? Kinye. All right, my friends. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about yellow and orange belt requirements. Now, if you're not a yellow and orange belt, do you want to skip ahead? That's up to you. But I'm going to tell you this. It's always good to do a little review. I'm not going to go overly crazy on that, on the requirements today, but I'm going to point out particulars. So, from our sparring stance, I'm going to talk about basic strikes. Jab, reverse punch. Notice the rotation on the reverse. Jab, reverse. Now that's how I would teach younger children on that, but it doesn't mean that's the only way to do it. On the jab, it's good to step because you get that momentum from your body. So I like to step and then rotate on that second strike. 1, 2, 1, 2. Somebody's just learning, this is all right, okay? Also looking at that stance, remember back heel up, decent guard, okay, about chin level. So that's jab and cross. Now, for white and yellow belts, we're talking about other punches as well, like hook punches. Those go right across the chin, like I was talking about before. Let's not bring the arm way back when we go to throw the hook. It stays pretty close to the body. We just rotate the hip, use the shoulder to bring the arm up, and that shoulder helps pull that punch through along with the pectorals, the chest muscles here. So 1, 2. When I throw a left hook, left heel comes up, right hook, right heel comes up. On uppercuts, driving up, using the legs, drive up to the eyes, okay, and go up the center line of your body. All right, or at least your opponent's body, that's what we're going for, right? So we got to bring that arm to the inside of the body, and that's why rotating that hip helps us do that, okay? So there's those basic strikes, palm heels here, straight out, ridge hand, knife hand, outside in knife hand from the rear, the chop, right? Better keep my guard up. Here, inside out knife hand, here. Now, turn in the hip, we throw that inside out, we cross the body like that, chamber, and come through here. Okay? And that's more of an awkward strike. Inside out is usually better off on the lead, so you're stepping in. So if there's outside ins and inside out knife hands, just make sure you're targeting here, carotids. On your elbows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Elbow number 1, remember, go straight in. I like to, again, step in like I do on the jab, and it helps me line up that elbow a little better. So if I'm doing a lead number 1 elbow, lead hand goes to the opposite shoulder, step in. Going to the mouth here, mouth or chin, straight in. But there's a chamber here, and then we step in and thrust that forward. It's like a jab, it's just like a short jab. 1, 2, we rotate over. Back of the hand on the chest. 3, rotate the other side. Pay attention to guard, hands are up. Open hand or closed hand is fine. Here, those are horizontal, and we don't go past the opposite shoulder. Number 4, rising, going straight up. And again, no higher than your eyes. And you want to make sure that you get it moving like an uppercut. Here, okay? So you got to turn that hip again. Then number 5, straight back. We've talked about this before, about keeping it close to the body. So when it comes back, you're focusing on the tip of the elbow, striking, not the tricep area. So I don't want to go just like this. I want to bring the arm up, shoulder up, so I can focus on getting the tip of the elbow back versus going back like this. All right? Hope that makes sense. Now, self-defense combinations, I'm just going to throw them in there. just a little bit, okay? Number one thing, focus on your target area, or important things I should say. Focus on your target area. Focus on the power of your strike. Remember, to have good power, you've got to have correct technique, like good chamber, right? And make sure that you're going into your target the way you're supposed to. Especially, well, you know, direct strikes is pretty easy, like that palm heel straight in here. But sometimes I see it almost as it's a slap, and we don't want that. We want it to be a good penetrating type of strike, okay? So palm heel to the chin, side kick to the knee, elbow across the chin. That's combination number one. I'll do that again. One more time. Palm, side kick, elbow, okay? Number two, we talked about the jab here, stepping in on the jab because that's the first motion on number two. Step in. Rotate on the elbow. Don't over-rotate. I don't want to come over here like this because my intention is to throw a groin kick as my last strike. And it's going to be harder for me to throw that direct, which is it's a direct rising kick. So I want to make sure that I rotate enough to get the elbow through with good power and then groin kick. So jab to the chin, elbow to the side of the chin, rising groin. We'll do 3 and 4 here. Next, 3, front leg roundhouse kick to the side of the knee. Step in on the jab, reverse hook, and those are both chin punches. Roundhouse kick again. Round, jab, hook, round. So we start with the round and we end with the round. It's a low kick to the side of the knee. One more time. Round, jab, hook, round again. Okay, we're hitting that side of the knee twice. Number 4, we're going to step in with a back fist. With your back fist, don't have your hand or wrist like this. Okay, you want to make sure it's strong. So you're going to tilt it forward slightly so you have some flexion when you hit. I don't want to hit like this and no flexion. So I'm going to bend that wrist just a little bit forward. So back fist to the bridge of the nose. Reverse punch to the side of the chin. First 2 knuckles, right there on the tip of the chin. Rotate that hip. And then we're going to pull this arm in as we do the side kick to the solar plexus. So again, back fist to the nose, reverse punch to the chin, side kick, and bring it back. So there's number 4, okay? So that's pretty much yellow and orange belt requirements other than escapes and one-steps. And I'll be honest with you, with the escapes, we're not even going to go there right now in this testing cycle. But the one-steps, I do want you to know 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Just remember, you always block with the left hand. So I'm going to angle off when I step in. There's a punch coming at me. And so I'm going to block with the left hand on all 4 of these one-steps, and then I'll do follow-up strikes after. So number 1, from Chumbi position, punch comes in, I step and block. You notice I push this way to push the punch this way. Then I punch over the top, chin, low ribs, chin, okay? So again, number 1. And step and block on an angle, chin, body, chin. Now, I'll catch myself doing it like this, with not using guard. I really should use guard, but in the olden times, that's what we had done. So block, head, body, head, and reset. So that's number 1. Number 2, starts out the same, step and block. Left hand block, right punch. We're going to grab behind the head, right knee, slide over with the leg that just did the knee, and left elbow. I'm going to slide, when I say slide over, I mean to slide back slightly so I don't strike my, my training partner. But if I did that here, I would strike, step across so I can get some good momentum into that elbow. So we'll do that one again. So from Chumbi, punch comes in, block, punch, clinch, knee, elbow. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is next, all right? So from Chumbi, we're going to go to the other side now. So we go to what is known as the open side. So the right punch comes in, left hand block, head, body, head. There's 3 punches. When I say head, chin, body, rib, or solar plexus. And solar plexus is probably the easier target from there. And then chin again. So we'll hit that one again, So number 3, step and block, punch to the chin, punch to the body, punch to the chin. Now I'm breaking it down a little bit, but a good way to, or a good thing to work forward to is to get 3 things going at the same time, step, block, and punch. 1, 2, 3, okay? So I'm doing this stuff all at the same time. And what will happen is those last 2 punches, sometimes when you do this really fast, like this, there'll be a little pause in between that first punch and the last 2. One more time on that, number 4. Okay. So that's 1, 2, and 3, and 4. If you're testing for yellow or orange belt, that's pretty much everything you need to know. Now I'm not going to go through everything everybody else needs to know, but what I'm going to ask you to do is, you guys, yellow and orange, I'm going to ask you to take some time and to practice that, okay? And for you guys, this is probably where I'd stop the video and get in 15 minutes of practice. Now, you can come back and watch the rest, but I really think you need to practice the things that we just talked about. Oh my gosh, I didn't really focus on the kicks today. Let me hit the kicks here real quick first. So you know, we do them in the combinations, and so for me it's just kind of a natural deal that, okay, well the kicks are in there. So a front kick, make sure you're pulling the toes back. All right, good chamber. And that can come from the lead or reverse position, but if we're doing a testing, we usually want it from the rear position here. Okay, and then front leg side kick, doesn't have to be high. Just looking for a good chamber and correct foot positioning. So here, 1, 2, and reset. Chamber up, 1, 2, reset, okay? It's nice if you get a good rechamber on it as well. And front leg round kick, same thing, doesn't have to be really high here. If you're going to knee or thigh, that's a good target. You can go a little bit higher if you angle it as a 45, like so. That's not a bad kick either. And that's the front leg roundhouse kick. Make sure you're pointing the toes on that kick. Call it somewhat of a ballerina kick there because of the toe or foot position. And then the side kick from the rear position. Good chamber across the body here. Again, foot position, correct foot position when you chamber, edge of the foot. So this is the striking point of your foot there. So from here, rotate out. Good rechamber and bring it back. Again, chamber up, kick out, good rechamber, and bring it back down. Okay, those who are testing for yellow and orange, there you go, that's your stuff. So I'd hit the pause button, get to work, 15 minutes. Work on those self-defense combinations, your kicks, your punches, your elbows, and have fun. Everybody else. So we're not going to go through all the combinations. I'm assuming that you know your combinations. If you guys aren't sure, check out the YouTube videos that we have on our YouTube channel, NAMAI-Norwalk. Check that out. You can check out forums there as well. I'm going to talk about important components of all this. Now, we've already talked about self-defense combinations. It's the same. Target, good strikes, powerful strikes, correct strikes. Keep your balance, okay? If I'm doing self-defense combination number 1, I'm all over the place. I don't look very good. I don't have good control. And, you know, if I'm really using that combination in a self-defense scenario, I'm putting myself in more danger. I don't want to do that to myself, okay? So make sure that your balance is good. Make sure your strikes are strong. Self-defense, like combination number 1. If you're a purple belt, green belt, it should be like this. Okay? Those are decent strikes, but they're not flowing the way you want it to. It should be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? That's how you should be able to fly through that combo. And all the rest of them. Okay? So making those self-defense combinations look good. Correct foot position, good guard, everything should be there. And that's for, again, those who are testing for, let's say, purple belt and above. Make those combos look good. On your 1 steps, same thing I talked about with everybody else, but we're paying a lot of attention to your footwork, how you're stepping. What is your range? let's say this bag was my opponent. I was doing, let's say, 3 or 4. And so I do number 3, one step, right? I step and block, punch, punch, punch. Maybe it's snappy, but it's lacking something. Range. I need to make sure I get close enough that I can strike if I wanted to, but I don't. So that means I should be pulling my punches slightly. So if I did number 3, I'll do a slow-mo. 1, 2, 3. Now, if I extend all the way through from here, I'm good. Same thing here. I've got good range. And it's getting used to that range, getting used to being a little bit closer to people than what you're used to, or maybe even what you're comfortable with. Getting used to that is super important. So make sure that you are getting within range. If you have a partner that can work with you, that's great. Watch out, don't pop them, okay? Take care of them. But get used to getting into that range, and you can still look good that way. Okay? Let's say I'm in range. I'm extending most of the way on that punch. That's the rest of it, okay? But I'm in range, all right? So, pay attention to that with your 1 steps. Let's see, talking about forms for you guys, really looking at stuff like this. Snap in your movement. Now, I will tell you, to me, it's not important how fast you go through the form, in the sense that I don't want you to go fast to try to impress me, because what happens is when people go fast, and usually it's because they're nervous, they want to get the form over with, or they think it looks good, whatever their reasoning, it doesn't. They want to be able to tell what you're doing. So when you're doing that form, see the head turn? I look and pause just for a half second. And then I go into my low block in front stance. Step in the middle punch. I feel comfortable doing the form at that speed with solid power. So that's something that we're looking at for higher belts. Head turn and good power. The sweep with the feet. When I go to the other side, let's say I'm in front stance here, and I go to cross to do what I just did on the other side, this foot comes close to my base foot. I don't bring it way out here. The reason that I don't is when I do, it makes it open for a sweep. And I've been talking a lot about sweeps with our Masters Club group, because we're going to be integrating sweeps a lot more when we start sparring again. And they are a fantastic tool. So I don't want to leave myself open for that sweep, so I bring the foot in, and I go straight to the next position I'm going to be in, okay? Then sweeping in and out when I go from stance to stance in a front stance. So moving forward, in, out, sweeping that foot into the other foot, and then into the correct position. Front knee bent, back leg straight. Like so. That stuff is what we're looking at in your forms. So make sure that stances are good. You got snap good as well. Higher belts, even higher. Brown belts especially, we're looking for, brown belt and above, we're looking for what happens in between your motions, okay? So if I go to do the beginning of basic form 1, low block. Do I just sweep in and out and do a block here? There's hand motions that are going on here too. So I do my low block, chamber up 1. What does that look like? Is there a punch in there? Yes, sir, there is. There's a punch, and there's a guard position here with the other hand. And then, downward block. If I'm doing low block, then high block. 1. Guard, blocking type position, but also a chamber for the high block. They used to talk a lot about rope on a pulley. That's how your hand should move. Okay? So if I'm firing punches in horse stance, that's what I'm doing there. But it's kind of the same with this. Whenever one hand's moving, so is the other in the opposite direction. So making sure that we are focusing on that, that mid, or in between technique chambers. or just chambers. So if I'm going to do from low block, let's say I'm going to do middle punch. 1, there's a punch right there. You see it? It's right here. I didn't even do the punch I was going to do here. But when we move from position to position, the arms are doing something. And we want them to do something that's good for the practitioner, right? Defending, whether it's blocking or punching. So I do my low block here. 1, 2. What if I do another middle punch in the form? 1, 2. So finding those positions that are in between positions, right? The things that are happening during your chamber. There's a lot of that. Let's see advanced form 1. So second side, advanced form 1, right? Turn and look, low block. Back stance, low block. There's a double chamber here, right? But this looks like a punch, doesn't it? Punch high and a punch low. Back stance, low block. Look at that. There's a punch right there. In a guard type position here, or a punch. Back fist. Step in. Look, punch. Middle punch. Okay, but we've already done this here. So really, we're just stepping in with the middle punch. But anyway, you get the idea. What if I turn in for low block? Blocking hand goes on the outside. Got my arms up. What does it look like? Looks kind of like a guard position, doesn't it? High knife. And this is all in advanced form 1. Okay? But the idea is to find those chambers in between your motions, okay? In between your techniques. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, but I need you to practice this stuff, okay? The last thing I'm going to ask you to work on is your testing kicks. Just make sure your foot position is good and that you have good chamber. A couple of things on chamber. When you do side kick, chamber up from a rear leg kicking position. I'm halfway through my pivot on my base foot when I'm here chambering, okay? And my kicking foot should be in front of my base leg, and my target should be in between those two, right? But in front of my base leg. So I do my side kick. I got to make sure I have good chamber there. And good extension, foot position, all that stuff. And that's why I encourage you to go slow. And to do your kicks low if you're having trouble keeping your balance. You know, I'm having trouble with my ankles right now. So it's kind of tricky for me to do kicks. But I'm not trying to kick high, and I'm going slow. And that's what we need to do, okay, if you're having issues. Or if you're just learning the kicks. Back swing kick, hook kick, those kicks, get the head around on the back swing. See your target before bring that leg through, okay? Get the head around and see. Work your weak side, okay? I'll probably ask to see your weak side at testing. In fact, I'll probably ask to see more weak side than good side. So be prepared for that. With your hook kick, remember, we want to have it pull through straight for about an area that's 2 feet wide. Okay? That's the hook kick. But chamber up, pull through, bring it back. Let's see. Footwork kicks. If you're an advanced student, make sure you know your dios, chales, jejuris. We're going to cover those real quick. Dio, back leg slides up, front leg kicks. Chale, front leg steps, back leg comes up like a jump kick, front leg kicks, okay? Jejuri, just straight up, jump, and switch each time, okay? Pabakwo, switch, kick. Make sure you got those footwork, or those types of footwork down, all right? So, I'm going to ask you to spend at least 15 minutes. I think you guys should spend more time. I think you should spend 20 to a half an hour practicing that. How's that? Pressure's on, right? But pay attention to technique. Don't rush through stuff. So that is your class. I'm going to ask you to pause after I talk about Masters Club. So for Masters Club, all previous forms. Do all your previous. Make sure that you are solid so that you don't have to pause. Let's see, what's this next move? You know, if you have to do that during a test, you don't really know the form that well, you need to practice it so it's second nature, okay? So I'm going to ask you to go through your previous, Nice and slow, like I'm asking you to go through your current. All right, and before we break, one more thing. We're going to talk about the bow staff. On your bow staff. Some tips. Make sure you turn your head, right? So, if we're doing bow staff form 1. Let's see, come in. I got to go this way now, so I turn my head. All right? Make sure you turn your head before you turn. Also, when you do your combination, bow staff should be nice and level here. Pay attention to it. No drooping bow staffs. So up, across, back, tuck. All right? Make sure it's level. I'm watching myself right now. I'm thinking, oh, point down a little bit. I got to keep that thing up. All right? And let's see. Paying attention to your grips when you go from the traditional stuff, like when I say traditional, maybe that's not correct. When you're going from your combination, right, into your spins. Normally our grip's here, but when I go into spins, my hands should be close. They should be touching. So I can spin easy, right? That makes that spin easy. But when I drop back out into my front stance here, where are my hands? They're wide, okay? They're just about a shoulder width apart. Okay? Boom. Let's see, what else would when you bring this, when you do your combination, up, across, I see this a lot. So you come up, and you don't bring it all the way across. Bring it all the way across. Watch yourself in a mirror, or ask somebody to watch you to make sure that you bring it all the way across. Also make sure that bow staff is level. Back, tuck. So those are some tips on the bow staff. Pay attention to your stance as well, because that's probably one of the biggest issues that we have with bow staff, is that when we start doing it, people start running through it, they lose their stance. I have no stance now. It just looks like I'm walking and doing my bow staff, okay? There needs to be stance. Hope that makes sense. I'm always thinking of new things I could say. Oh, let me give you this, let me give you that. Okay, I got one more thing. When you do the thrust and you step through, remember, you step behind. And then you go back into the horse stance. Keep the bow staff up. A lot of times I see this. We go with one, and then the bow staff drops. Keep the bow staff up. Keep it high. So 1, here, chest high. 2, still chest high. All right. You might want to go through this and take notes. I don't know. Anyway, this is all stuff that you can use to start prepping for your test coming up. And like I said, even if you're not testing in this cycle, you should be prepared every cycle. Always make a point to be prepared when that testing cycle comes up. A few weeks before, you should be hitting your training twice as hard. All right, so that's all I've got for now. Thanks for watching. Go through this stuff, please. And I'm going to suggest you watch this video twice, because you might miss something or forget something that you heard that, oh yeah, there's that. Forgot about that. So I would suggest you go through it twice, especially if you're a higher belt. Anyway, thank you for watching, my friends. I appreciate your time and your effort, and I'm excited for your test. We're going to go ahead and do flags. 준비, Cheerio, Kinye, Baro, Anjo, Monkim. Baro, Rasat, Cheerio, Kinye. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. 감사합니다.